May 13th, 1746, early morning. Outskirts of London. Home. I was shaken roughly from a deep slumber in the dark by my master. He yanked me to the surface from some awful nightmare of what I feared to be prophetic in nature. Although the exact details of the dream I am unable to recall, I can still envision those burning eyes of the horrid creature. It crawled forth from a deep well in the country, and I watched as it approached a small farmhouse in the falling dusk. From the farmhouse's open, glowing windows floated a woman's singing voice, the voice of its prey. Even as I recount these events, my memory fades, but the creature, having stilled that sweet voice, slid silently into the River Thames and swam towards London. My master, the wise Sir Themault Redwhinn, aroused me in a hushed and urgent voice, one I've not heard in our many years together. He hissed, "Arise, my young pupil, arise! The Grand Inquisitor hath summoned us to All Hallows. The matter bids us no delay. I command thee, wake!" And with only starlight above, we mounted and rode swiftly toward London, moving like the black shape beneath the murky waters of the Thames in my viscous nightmare. May 13th, 1746, 6 in the a.m., Westminster, All Hallows the Great. I followed Master Redwhinn as he quickly descended the stone stairs to the lower chambers of St. George's Cathedral. The stairs ended before a set of lofty oaken doors emblazoned with the emblem of the House of Solomon. I had passed these doors but once before, when I was sworn into the order and given my Servant of Solomon ring, the mark of an apprentice servant. Should I prove myself to be both loyal and effective, I may be endowed with the title of knighthood like Master Redwhinn, Knight of the House of Solomon, who serves orders from the Parliament of Inquisitors. Inquisitor is the highest rank my own eyes have ever beheld, for the Grand Inquisitor is but a shadow in this chamber. Only those of higher ranking may ever speak to him or even see him. We were brought before a circle of figures clad in crimson robes, their faces concealed behind masked helms, each standing high above us on a dais. For a long moment they looked down upon us in silence, and we were minuscule insects under the gaze of baleful giants. Then one among the figures spoke out solemnly, as if he had hoped that this day would never come.
Sir Themault Redwhinn and his apprentice servant Sebastian Vesa hath been summoned by the Grand Inquisitor of the House of Solomon, by order of the late King James, under the virtue and will of God, to fulfill their sworn duties and purge the land of the 11th Beast, which did manifest itself upon the night of yester, the 12th of May, in the year of our Lord 1746. It is believed to be presently hiding in the city of London. Their duties were sworn by oath. Do they wish to ask of the Parliament anything to aid them on their hunt?
"We ask only for the blessings of the Grand Inquisitor," said Master Redwhinn, still as stone, "and access to the secret library and its texts." My heart beat fiercely as I glanced at my Servant of Solomon ring. My fate lay in the hands of Master Redwhinn, and it eased my tensed mind. My master's request was granted. We were provided hunting gear and given maps of the boroughs. We departed to fulfill our oaths at 7:15 of the morning hour. May 13th, 1746, 9 in the p.m. Southwark, the Black Feather Inn. The day was spent in locations of frequent gathering and merriment. One may have considered it a pub crawl had spirits been higher. There was not a word of tale about our beast. That was, however, until we chanced to eavesdrop on a certain burly fellow sat in the corner, relaying a fantastical story of a large, lupine creature to his companions. Upon questioning, and another drink courtesy of my master, he revealed the tale to have originated from a labourer at the Coax's Wharf. We shall make our way there come morn. May 14th, 1746, 9:30 in the p.m. Southwark, the Black Feather Inn. Upon reaching Coax's Wharf, we chanced to encounter a woman engaged on the very same errand, searching for our storytelling labourer. Master Redwhinn took this occasion to demonstrate to me the correct method to interrogate strangers without arousing suspicion or distrust. This woman, a prostitute named Agnes Gibbs, had been seeking the labourer to collect the remainder of the debt he owed for her services. This client was apparently a slippery fellow, for he had not shown up for his shift that morning at the wharf. She further mentioned finding a mysterious note on the man's bedside table, which she thankfully still had in her possession. The note, she explained, contained nonsensical scribblings concerning some beast. She spied the interest in my eyes at the mention of this, and at once offered to part with the note for a price. Before I could launch into a fit of anger and scold her for trying to obstruct an investigation, and one of holy import at that, Master Redwhinn placed a hand on my shoulder to steel me. He asked calmly for her usual hourly fee and, to my astonishment, paid the harlot a full day's wage and extra for the note. The blasted thing simply read that the beast was nocturnal, a fact that one may have assumed even without a mysterious note. Master Redwhinn later scolded my lack of emotional control and rashness, reminding me that sound judgment requires patience, and that conclusions must be drawn only from what the facts imply. It may be possible, he added, that the note could have been planted by those opposed to our cause. We returned late to the Black Feather Inn, and shall make haste to All Hallows on the morrow to verify this information in the secret library. The prostitute, Agnes Gibbs, has no knowledge of the labourer's place of residence, knowing only that he is acquainted with her brother. Their meetings, she explained, were confined to secrecy at cheap inns. We will likely be speaking with her brother soon. As for the note, the penmanship is horrendous, and the condition is rather poor. It reads, "Dreaded is the light. Our beast moves by night." This note is quite mysterious. I ponder its origin. May 15th, 1746, 8 in the PM. Southwark, Blackfeather Inn. Once again, I was awakened by my master late in the night. He had received word that the House of Solomon had vital information in their possession and requested his immediate return. He bade me find and question Drew Gibbs, Agnes's brother, first thing in the morning, whilst he himself returned to All Hallows. Employing the techniques of discreet interrogation which I learned yesterday, I spoke with Mr. Drew Gibbs about his friend, the wharf labourer. It soon became evident that there was greater depth to this affair than I had initially suspected. Once again, the words of wisdom by Master Redwhinn proved true. Mr. Gibbs recounted a dream he had on the night of May 12th, wherein a wolf-like beast hunted for blood by the light of the moon. He saw this dream 2 nights in a row, and last night he dreamed that this beast was warded off by a string of orchids. I found this to be peculiar, yet I restrained my judgment and urged him to describe this ward in greater detail. He said it was, as it appeared in the dream, a line of hemp interlaced with moss connecting many flowering orchids together. The precise number of flowers he could not say, but it was surely more than 20. As far as I know, Mr. Gibbs had scrawled the devil himself. He gave it to his friend, the wharf labourer, and asked him to help make sense of it. His friend obviously had no interest in helping Mr. Gibbs at all, but rather helping himself to Miss Agnes. He likely knew nothing more about this wild wolf than what Mr. Gibbs had written. I also chose not to disclose the activities of his sister and friend. Thus concluded, I walked back to Southwark, mulling over the information I had uncovered, and returned to an empty room at the Blackfeather Inn. Master Redwhinn has yet to return. May 16th, 1746, 3:15 in the PM. London Bridge. I looked out over the River Thames and began contemplating the tales of old, when the subject of lycanthropy crossed my mind. What if this beast was not entirely lupine, but lycanthropic in nature? What if some poor soul was cursed to assume the form of the 11th Beast and act upon vile and demonic urges? I gazed out at the ships along the docks and was reminded of that image of the wretched, black shape just under the surface of the water, swimming towards London to its horrid goal of drinking the blood of good Christians. I must return to All Hallows to meet with Master Redwhinn. May 17th, 1746, 6 in the PM. Westminster, All Hallows the Great. Our friend Mr. Drew Gibbs has proven to be quite an interesting fellow. Not only had this man turned up at the doorstep of St. George's Cathedral, stark raving mad, it turns out that the bastard had followed me all the way from Cox's Wharf. He approached me on the steps of our secret order and gave me quite a stop before telling me of another dream he had. His nighttime visions revealed that the beast was quite furtive, choosing to operate its heinous dealings at dead hours to avoid being seen. As I sit alone in the quiet study room of my temporary chamber in All Hallows, I cannot help but tremble as I weakly recall my own dreams of last night, in which I, tormented by a most unnatural thirst for blood, I slipped into an alleyway to avoid the gaze of a night watchman. Surely this dream is not connected to Mr. Gibbs' lunacies, right? Master Redwhinn greeted me at the emblem-emblazoned doors of the cathedral's lower chambers. He apologised for his hasty departure and then advised me not to allow myself to be followed like that again. The House of Solomon is, after all, a secret order. He then explained his summons on the night of the 15th. The Parliament informed him that another victim of the beast had been confirmed. He was ordered to perform an autopsy of the body, where he discovered wounds conforming to a wolfen bite pattern. This confirms that our beast is indeed a wolf. Master Redwhinn showed me the body in the laboratory, and I was stricken with fear upon the realization that I had seen this woman before. She was the singing countrywoman in the farmhouse in my dream. I pray that this is not my doing in lycanthropic form. May 18th, 1746, 11 in the PM. Westminster, All Hallows the Great. After a full day of studying and verifying rumours in the secret library under the cathedral, Master Redwhinn and I concluded that the beast is indeed nocturnal, furtive, and must have an aversion to a string of orchids like Mr. Gibbs had dreamed. It seems every detail he recounted was accurate, and we agreed to spring a visit upon him to glean additional information about this seemingly prophetic talent of his. Word has just arrived that the patients at St. Thomas Hospital have been talking of a beast in the night. We plan to make all haste there come morning. It is on the way to Mr. Gibbs' place of residency, so we shall make excellent time. I've been comforted slightly in the knowledge that neither Master Redwhinn nor I were able to prove my suspicion of lycanthropy in our studies in the secret library. May 19th, 1746, 11 in the AM. London, London Bridge. During our trek across the city to meet our prophetic dreamer, we were surprised to witness a salesman collecting water from the riverside and attempting to sell it as a magical ward against the beast. It seems that word is beginning to spread of this wild wolf. Upon purchasing a vial of this ludicrously filthy water, Master Redwhinn inquired of the salesman, one Bartholomew Huxley, as to the source of his information. Mr. Huxley puffed his chest out in his heavily patched overcoat and stated proudly that he read it in a book on magical beasts and folk creatures. We shall examine the validity of this later, as it could prove useful in our hunt. May 19th, 1746, 7 in the PM. Southwark, the Black Feather Inn. Late in the evening, we arrived at St. Thomas's Hospital and inquired about the rumours. A shift lead, annoyed, informed us of a particular nurse on the night shift who had been telling ghost stories to patients about a beast wolf. A manner betrayed this not being the first occasion whence these rumours reached her. We demanded to speak with the nurse, claiming to be from the Ministry of Information and Intelligence Regulation, and that the matter was of the utmost importance. The shift lead, startled into ignoring protocol, ran off to fetch the nurse. Master Redwhinn applauded me for my acting skills, much to my delight. When the shift lead returned with the nurse, a Miss Edith Huxley, we questioned her authoritatively on the origins of her stories. Mrs. Huxley admitted that she and her husband, a successful salesman in the province, learned of the wolf in a book on, magical beasts and folk creatures. She said that the beast wolf was waiting for blood, concealing itself in the shadows and alleyways. I was particularly disturbed by her use of the word alleyways. It conjured repressed dreams of thirsting for blood and hiding from night watchmen. The book is no doubt lost in a sea of dusty volumes in the library. We administered to her an official verbal warning on the distribution of panicking tales in a public setting before departing the hospital. We are staying at the Black Feather Inn again tonight, then we'll return to All Hallows on the morrow to verify these rumours. Before retiring to bed, I requested for Master Redwhinn to watch over me. I told him of my fitful dreams, careful not to reveal my true fears. He eyed me with suspicion, then softened with compassion, and agreed without pressing me on the matter. May 20th, 1746, 3 in the PM. Westminster, All Hallows the Great. We awoke to a knock at our door at the Black Feather Inn. A messenger from the House of Solomon informed us of the beast sighting at the Billingsgate docks. It attacked and killed a dark worker before slipping away. We set out to the cathedral at once to verify our rumours. If Mr. Bartholomew Huxley's guess of water acting as a ward is accurate, then perhaps it can be combined with the string of orchids to trap and kill it. The messenger ran ahead of us to alert the Parliament of Inquisitors of our approaching. Along the way, we heard many stories of this attack. Multiple passers-by were sharing wildly varying accounts and retellings of the attack. The wild wolf is here. The 11th Beast is on the hunt for blood. May God have mercy upon us all. Some solace was granted, for Master Redwhinn did not share any stories of my transforming into the beast during the night, only saying that I stirred a bit, then slept soundly once he lay a hand on my head. Good old Master Redwhinn. There will no doubt be another long night of poring over ancient manuscripts ahead of us. May 21st, 1746, 2 in the AM. Westminster, All Hallows the Great. We studied throughout the night, tearing through stacks of dusty books and manuscripts on anything related to folk creatures and mythical beasts. We have concluded that Mr. Huxley was most likely correct about water possessing the ability to repel the beast. The claim that his sister, Miss Edith, made proved false. The beast is indeed furtive, but surely not hidden. It attacked a dark worker in broad daylight. Either she has an active imagination, or this wild wolf is becoming wilder and bolder. We reported to the Parliament of Inquisitors, and they ordered, based on our findings, for a net of orchids to be constructed. The plan is simple. We ensnare the beast with the net and douse it with water. God help us should it escape. We know so much and yet so little of how to combat this evil. I sit now, gazing at the mural of St. George, spearing the wicked flesh of the dragon with a pike. I ponder how he acquired such knowledge, and envy his unwavering faith. One thought returns again and again to my plagued mind. Why does God allow a new beast to manifest every 13 years? May 21st, 1746, 11 in the PM. Southwark, St. Thomas's Hospital. The wild wolf of Westminster lives yet. We scoured Westminster province looking for a trail to track that vile creature, pushing through crowds of shouting rumour-mongers in the streets. They all pointed north toward the River Thames. We listened to wildly differing accounts of a lightning-fast beast race across the cobblestone towards the river. Soapbox preachers screamed like bloody madmen above the crowds about the impending wrath of God. The great judgment that awaited us all for our wrongdoings. The beast, a manifestation of his anger. Churches had lines spilling into the streets where drunkards, children, and commoners all traded stories like diseases. I cannot help but wonder if this is how Sodom looked in its final days. We followed the mass of pointing fingers to London Bridge, where the beast reportedly hid itself somewhere among its great structures. We patrolled the bridge until evening. Then, just as the sun began to set, we were beset from above by the beast. Its power was horrific and terrifying. It was much larger than any wolf I have ever seen. It sprang down from a low rooftop and sank its wretched fangs into Master Redwhinn, dragging him with a snarl to the ground. I flung the net of orchids toward the beast, who leapt out of the way before it even made contact, like the repelling force of two magnets. I had not even a chance to bring out the skin of water before it scampered off into the darkness between two houses. My master took a grave wound from the attack. He fortunately escaped with his life. But unfortunately, so did that demonic beast, that wild wolf, that spawn of Lucifer. I sit now at my master's bedside in St. Thomas's Hospital and watch him cling to life. Never before have I ever seen this brave and wise knight of the House of Solomon in such a grievous state. His breath rattles and pustules of yellow infection sprout like fungus around the punctures. He tells me, shakily, to continue the fight against this terror. But how can I, without my master at my fore, guiding me when I am lost and teaching me in my ignorance? How can I, a humble apprentice servant, accomplish that which my master could not? Am I even worthy of the title servant of Solomon? I look down at my ring and twist it mindlessly about my finger. I am no knight, but this beast cannot be allowed to roam free in the city. Right now, my path back to the cathedral is barred by that foul creature from hell, but I cannot sit here cowering at my master's side whilst the beast drinks the blood of the innocent. I recall my oath. I swore to protect the world from the 11th Beast when it comes. 10 have come before, and 10 have been slain by brave men and women of the order before me. Now my time has come, and I swear that this 11th shall die. May 22nd, 1746, 5:30 in the PM. Southwark, the burying ground. I received a message from my dear friend Agnes Gibbs. She claimed to have pertinent news and arranged to meet me in the burying ground in the lower section of Westminster. The cemetery was called Golden Bridge, though its appearance was far from what such a name would imply. Agnes had heard of our plight on London Bridge and warned me of future encounters, for the beast's behaviour is erratic. She claims to have read it in a book. Seeing the state her brother had been reduced to, a bumbling mess of a man, and my master taking a grave wound, and my no doubt unsightly appearance due to lack of sleep, has spurred her into the race to learn as much as possible about our beast wolf. I'm touched by her efforts. She really is lovely. Unfortunately, that wild wolf still occupies London Bridge. Without any way of returning to All Hallows the Great, I am trapped in Southwark. My thoughts shift back to my first dream, in which this beast swam like a fish up the River Thames. It was first sighted at the Bellingsgate docks near the water. It obviously does not fear the River Thames, even occupying the area on and around the bridge. Mr. Huxley's hunch on the beast's hydrophobic nature must be false. If this is the case, then I have no weapons against the monster. I must find another way to kill it. May 23rd, 1746, 4:45 in the PM. Southwark, the burying ground. I met up with Agnes again today, and she led me to the small library where she found the book describing the beast's behaviour. She had intended to show me something else on its behaviour, but I was aghast to see, depicted upon a stained glass window, a scene from an ancient tale with a wolf-like beast, likening to our wild wolf. The mural depicts the beast being slain with a rowan tree wooden lance. I felt emboldened at this vast discovery. Should it be true, I will have the means of slaying the 11th Beast and purging the land of this evil. I thanked Agnes, promising to return to see her once this business was through. In the meantime, I shall return to St. Thomas's Hospital to check on Master Redwhinn's condition. May 24th, 1746, 1 in the AM. London Bridge. I returned to the hospital and told my master of the new findings. He seemed most pleased with my work. He advised me to brave the bridge crossing and return at once to All Hallows to verify this information. Yet, I lingered, not wishing to leave his side. Sensing my hesitation, he grabbed my hand and, without utterance, pointed down to the ring encircling me finger. Master Redwhinn always held firm that the heart knows above all else the right path to follow. That is the conviction of a true knight. I wish I had learned more from him. As I was departing, I heard a mighty crash like that of glass being shattered and doors being beaten down. I raced back down the candlelit halls of the hospital to find claw marks on the floor and tufts of that dastardly fur which had been sheared off by the broken window. The wild wolf had returned to finish the deed. I felt sick with fear, but the fires of desperation propelled me up the stairs to the third floor, where I found Master Redwhinn's room torn apart. The white curtains were shredded and stained with dark blood. My master lay there, warm lamplight washing the gruesome scene in a sickly yellow hue. He stirred not, he did not draw breath. On his face, a frozen image of agony and of acceptance. Acceptance that his end had come at the claws and fangs of the 11th Beast. Sir Themault Redwhinn, Knight of the House of Solomon, stands no longer between the forces of wickedness and the centre of civilized society. My master is dead. The beast hath sealed its own fate. It shall die. As I left the hospital, I heard the demon howl a terrible cry for war. I looked down at my ring. It fit well. Master Redwhinn's, however, did not. It was too large for my nimble apprentice fingers. It instead hangs on a silver chainlet around my neck, serving as a reminder of mine and my master's oaths. A relic of his teachings, a reassurance that vengeance is at hand. May 24th, 1746, 3 in the PM. Westminster, Billingsgate Docks. On my way back to the cathedral, I heard news that one Catherine Millward had witnessed the beast when it first appeared at the docks on the 17th of May. Once I located her, she explained that in her 4th floor apartment, she often drank tea in the mornings on the balcony. From this vantage, she witnessed the wild wolf climb out of the River Thames like a drowned rat and viciously attack the dock workers. Mrs. Millward then stated that a watchman was able to fire a shot at the beast, striking it in the shoulder and arming it. She claimed to have heard its howls of pain as it raced back towards the river. This is yet another valuable piece of information on my quest to avenge my master. May 24th, 1746, 11 in the PM. Westminster, the Royal Exchange. My journey back to All Hallows the Great once again took a detour when I heard of another rumour at the Royal Exchange. A watchman named Gareth Bentham claimed to have heard it near a Protestant church in the northwestern corner of the Westminster Borough, saying that upon the bell ringing the 12th hour, the beast howled in pained shrieks and ran off. From a bit of nighttime investigation in the locked bell tower, I discovered that the great bell was specially commissioned for the Church of the Thorn Crown in 1616, cast entirely of lead. Its weight and composition made for a deep and thunderous thud rather than a chime. Although Mr. Bentham did not see the wild wolf with his own eyes, he assured me that its cries were undoubtedly demonic. May 25th, 1746, 10 in the PM. Westminster, All Hallows the Great. The Parliament of Inquisitors were alerted of his death the night it occurred. They seemed not at all upset by Master Redwhinn's passing, but that the beast still lived, they were most angry. I was questioned heavily on the circumstances of his death, as if I needed to relive that nightmare. I was then ordered to relate all new information I had discovered since his death. It was their intention to document and relay my findings to another master and apprentice duo to replace me. Employing one of Master Redwhinn's teachings on emotional control, I coolly protested the wishes of the Parliament to replace me, arguing that this hunt was my own, and that I needed access to the secret library as per the last wish of Sir Themault Redwhinn to me, his servant apprentice. After a moment of deliberation, my request was granted. My studies lasted throughout the night and late into today. I could not help but notice that the secret library felt much more dreary and dreadfully empty without Master Redwhinn by my side. How I wish he were here to offer his wisdom on how to proceed with the hunt. All 4 of the rumours I uncovered proved to be true. The beast is indeed erratic, as Agnes said. It is weakened by lead shot and rowan tree wood. It scurries at the sound of a lead bell ringing in its presence. This combination of weapons, wards, and knowledge of its behaviours will grant me the ability to fulfil my oath to fulfill my master's oath and to avenge him, and to carry out the Lord's judgment. I have requested for the following items to be made. 6 shots, 4 centimeters in diameter, composed of the purest lead available. A small handheld bell, also composed of the purest lead. A half-meter string of orchids fastened with hemp and intertwined with moss. And a pike of hardened rowan wood, 1 meter in length and waterproofed. May 26th, 1746, 7 in the PM. Westminster, All Hallows the Great. I enlisted the help of Agnes and Drew Gibbs in the final showdown against this beast. The wild wolf had caused these two much strife, and they were invaluable in my quest to hunt the demon. We approached London Bridge from the underside along the riverbank. The beast was no doubt lurking somewhere in its great stone supports, concealed high up in the dark crevices. Agnes approached and stood beneath the bridge, looking up into the darkness and ringing the lead bell wildly like a farmer summoning the animals back to the barn. The beast gave a blood-curdling howl from somewhere in the bridge supports and hurled itself down towards Agnes. Just as I had guessed, the sight of the string of orchids around her waist was appalling to the beast, and it turned in rage towards the approaching Drew and charged. They wasted no time in opening fire, sending a grape-sized lead shot into the already wounded shoulder of the creature. It howled in pain, but continued its charge. Drew raised a second arm and fired, the shot burying itself into the disgusting, slobbering maw of the demon. With a hideous screech of pain, it turned and bounded toward the river. I emerged from my hiding place below the water, covered in thick, stinking weeds like a caiman breaking the surface of a pond. The river water was filthy, but my thirst for vengeance could not be quelled by the entirety of the river times. I was the shadow beneath the surface of the river from my dream 13 nights ago. The beast roared toward me, a hornet's nest of fury and hatred. It no doubt recognised me from our previous encounter on the bridge, and remembered my scent from the hospital where it stole the life of a good knight. But the creature was unable to detect my approach in the putrid water. The wild wolf leapt forward on powerful hind legs, its eyes burning and fixed upon me, its mouth open and full of fangs. I raised the wooden lance from beneath the water and braced its haft firmly into the sediment. The hard wood tip dripped water like poison from a scorpion's barb. With its great momentum, the beast fell upon the spearhead, skewering itself in the chest, and slid down the spear to where my hands gripped the shaft tightly. I heard its breath tear out of its lungs as the spear ripped through the back of the wolf beast, and I felt its body jolt and crack the spear's shaft beneath my grip. As the huge body of the beast splashed down into the water, it thrashed wildly on top of me, pinning me beneath the surface. I heard the beast let out a terrible cry of agony, which became gargled as river water flooded its now open thoracic cavity. It lay on top of me, convulsing weakly until it no longer stirred. I loosed myself from beneath its great weight and stood up from the shallow water, where a dark ring of black blood was expanding around the half-submerged body. The 11th Beast is dead. May 27th, 1746, late in the night. Outskirts of London. Home. Sir Themault Redwhinn's body was transported back to the cathedral shortly after the attack on St. Thomas's Hospital. The House of Solomon paid to have the wing restored and even renamed in honour of my master. He now lies in eternal and peaceful slumber in the catacombs beneath St. George's Cathedral, adorned in knightly regalia. Drew and Agnes Gibbs were recognised by the Order for their heroism and brave deeds in the hunt for the 11th Beast. Drew was even offered to study alongside some of the apprentice servants in training. The Parliament of Inquisitors seemed very interested in his ability to dream prophetically concerning the nature of the beast. Perhaps he will become a member and swear the same oath I once did. Agnes and I have agreed to meet again in the countryside, away from the bustling streets of London. She likes to take strolls in the evening near the river, but we've both agreed that perhaps we have seen enough of the river times for a while. It would be nice to hear more about her without the threat of a demonic beast plaguing our thoughts. As for my professional career, I was awarded with the medal of Hero of the House of Solomon, and endowed with the official title of Beast Slayer, one that was only bore by a select few before me, Master Redwhinn included. I am, as of yet, the only apprentice servant to be a beast slayer. This is a title previously held exclusive to knights of the House of Solomon. I have not yet earned that honour, though, as Parliament puts it.
You, young Sebastian Vesa, servant apprentice, beast slayer, have much training left before you can be considered for knighthood. But know that we fully expect you to uphold your oath in the future, when the 12th Beast arrives. Your service and loyalty to the House of Solomon are unwavering, and we are eternally thankful for all you have done thus far.
I need no reminding of my oath. My ring is a constant reminder that beasts still lurk. So, we will continue to oppose them and the forces of evil, no matter the cost. That is what Master Redwhinn always told me. Good graces be upon us all, and may the evils of hell remain there, God willing. Sebastian Vesa, apprentice servant of the House of Solomon, Beast Slayer.